Paul Ryan. Sean Spicer is joining us right now. He's the chief spokesman strategist for the Republican National Committee. He's been very much involved in trying to get Donald Trump elected president. First of all, Sean, I know you worked really hard to get him elected in your role as the Republican National Committee strategist. Congratulations. What do you anticipate will happen today?
Well, first, I appreciate it. Thank you, Wolf. Most of the credit goes to my boss, RNC, Reince Priebus, whose vision and investment over the last 4 years really helped take the movement and the message that this candidate brought and helped the entire ticket win up and down, put together one of the most amazing ground games and data operations that any party's ever seen. And I know we talked to a lot of people over the last few weeks about how we're going to translate the movement and the message that Trump brought onto the ground, and how we've been working hand in hand with the campaign to go door to door. And I think Chairman Priebus's vision and message, combined with an amazing message and movement that Donald Trump and campaign had, really showed how impressive it was on Tuesday night. As for today, I think, look, I was there on the last day of the Bush White House. President and Mrs. Bush could not have been more classy and gracious, and I think President Obama and Mrs. Obama have noted that, and I think they will follow that example that President Bush and Mrs. Bush used to ensure that there is a peaceful transfer of power, and that the same accommodations and hospitality that they were shown by the Bush team will be shown to the Trump team, to ensure that our country continues to show how beautifully we transfer power after one election.
I suspect you're right. You mentioned Reince Priebus, the chairman of the Republican National Committee, your boss. A lot of speculation that he's become close to Donald Trump over these past several months. A lot of speculation he could emerge as the White House chief of staff. I assume you've heard that speculation. So two questions. Is he going to be chief of staff? And what about you? What role do you want in a Trump administration?
All I'm looking forward to is a good seat at the inauguration right now. I'm looking forward to watching Donald Trump and Mike Pence get sworn in as the next president and vice president of the United States, and I'm honored to have played a small part in that. I know Chairman Priebus and the rest of the team here at the RNC, Chris Carr, our political director, Bill Skelly and Liam O'Rourke on the data side, Garrett Lansing, who runs our digital, Katie Walsh, our chief of staff, have all just been working tirelessly to help this campaign. And I think all of us, frankly, just spent the last 36 hours excited and happy, and you know, we'll see where it goes from there. I know that everyone wants to make sure that we help Donald Trump and his team be successful, and but it's too early for any of those questions to be asked right now.
I suspect that's a very diplomatic answer. Maybe State Department, maybe a role as the State Department, some senior position there. You know, Sean, we got John King with us. He's got a lot of experience covering the White House over these years. He's got a question for you.
Sean, let me echo the congratulations from Wolf, and I hope there's a well-deserved beach in your future before that great seat at the inauguration. You're a very smart person when it comes to messaging and strategy, and I'm just wondering if Donald Trump, the tone Donald Trump sets early on, you remember the early days of the Obama administration. I'm not trying to assign blame to which side, but the Republicans said, you know, he came out with this Democratic partisan agenda, and then immediately you had the divide between the two. If Donald Trump asked you, during the campaign I said I would appoint a special prosecutor. During the campaign my crowds chanted repeatedly, lock her up, lock her up. Should I do that, or should I turn the page and say it's time to let Hillary Clinton go into retirement peacefully? Let's drop all that talk. If Donald Trump asked you that question, how would you answer?
Well, I'd say the tone and sentiment that he expressed on, well, actually Wednesday morning when he took the stage officially, is the tone that I think we should carry through, which is he talked about a lot of policies, helping people from around this country understand how policies can help them, enact policies and solutions that will lift up all Americans. And I think that would be where the focus should be. I think that's, when you think of the multiple ambitious pieces of his agenda to help America, I think that's where we start, and again, I think that's where you're going to see him go, because he understands that so many people from around this country are hurting, and that they really, really believe in the message and the movement that he and Governor Pence have taken from one corner of this country to the next, to the inner cities, to the rural parts of this country, north, south, east, and west. There's so many people that have looked to Donald Trump and Mike Pence to bring that change to Washington that I think that's where we're going to probably spend the most, he'll spend the most amount of his time.
showing your skills here and avoiding the very specific part of the question. On the question of special prosecutor, you know what's happening in the country. Donald Trump won fair and square. Donald Trump will be the president-elect. But we live in a divided America, and there are a lot of people who are a bit anxious about this. On that specific question, if he said, should I name a special prosecutor, as I said in the campaign, would you say, sir, go ahead, you promised that, or sir, maybe you should just leave that in the campaign and have a different tone as president?
I'll tell you, I think he laid out a lot of things, solutions and policies and priorities. The counsel that I would give him is to focus on a lot of those things that are going to unite us as a country, make the country better, lift people out of poverty, create more jobs, reform health care. He's got a lot of things on that agenda. And then beyond that, I would keep my advice to him very private.
Do you think he's going to, on day one, January 20th of 2017, only a few weeks from now, Sean, that he's going to start on day one and issue a series of executive orders eliminating a lot of the decisions, the executive actions that President Obama, whether on immigration, climate change, sensitive issues like that?
I think he's got about 2.5 months until that day in January where he raises his hand and puts his other hand on the Bible and gets sworn in as president to lay out that agenda and figure out what exactly needs to come first, second, or third. But I'm going to tell you now that there's no question that starting day one, he is going to make it very clear that this is going to be an administration that is not going to stand for the status quo and is going to change the way that this government operates to make people's lives better. But you're going to notice it on day one. So I don't want to lay out, and I'm not going to prejudge how he wants to do it or exactly the way in which he wants to do it. But I know this. On day one, you're going to feel a positive impact for this country because Mike Pence and Donald Trump have become the president and the vice president of this country.
I know you had a very, very busy role in the campaign, and you were up in New York over at Trump Tower trying to help get him elected. Do you have a specific role? I know you work at the RNC during this transition that you're going to be working on, helping Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, who is in charge of the transition. Do you have a specific role right now, Sean?
No, I don't. I'll do what I'm asked. Look, I'm honored to have been part of it, Wolf. But there's a lot of great people in Trump Tower that have really worked hard and across the country, frankly, putting up signs and advising and creating policy. And so I think all of them want to be part of this historic opportunity. And wherever he or his team asks, I know people want to help.
One final question before I let you go, Sean. Were you stunned that he won?
I was a bit shocked by the depth and breadth of it. When you saw some of these counties come in, that Obama had won 52-47, 51-48, some of the Wisconsin counties, the Michigan counties, places where we knew we were going to do well, and we had seen the surge, but we sort of, in all the areas, frankly, you watched these counties flip. And it really spoke to the depth and breadth of the change and movement that he was spearheading.
Sean Spicer, the chief strategist, the spokesman for the Republican National Committee. Sean, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf. Thank you, John.